Hello friends, welcome back to the next session on operations, planning, scheduling and control. Now let's begin with our learning. In this particular session, we'll be able to understand and deal with the concepts of managing operational flexibility, the learning objectives. At the end of this particular session, the learners will be able to understand what do we mean by or how do we manage the operational flexibility and what are the various activities that have been undertaken with respect to managing the operational flexibility. Now let's understand the basic meaning or terminology with respect to the managing operational flexibility. As we have seen earlier in our last session that managing operational variability is essentially important. The variability concept totally deals with the concept of how do we change the organization or a certain series of activities. Now, when these particular series of activities are being implemented as a part of change, the flexibility always needs to be brought in the organization. That is either with related to the inventory, either related with the company's goods and services, either related with the strategic decision making or the assembly line. So flexibility is of utmost importance whenever there is in combining operations and marketing strategies because it allows the companies to offer new items, modify the capacity very quickly and personalize the product. So whenever there is a certain change that needs to be implemented or incorporated, then here at this particular stage, flexibility plays an important role because it helps the business to properly respond to threats. A particular business organization needs to change its strategy only when there is a certain situation of threat that is created in the organization. So, particularly while dealing with a tumultuous environment, that is ups and downs in the economy, ups and downs in a particular company's revenue, sales, profitability, and so on, or availability of goods and services or the raw material into the market. So, at this particular stage, maintenance of flexibility is essentially important. The concept of product life cycle is completely unpredictable. At certain stages, the product passes on from different phases. Either the product life cycle is of a different phases such as introduction, growth, maturity, saturation, and decline. And for what period or for what duration each and every phase will long, that cannot be predictable. And hence, due to unpredictable situations of the product life cycle, one cannot be very sure about what will be the demand and what will be the supply of product, what are the various threats that may arise in a certain point period, maybe either a 5 years or a 10 years or the 20 years of the life cycle, and how to overcome those particular threats. And for this particular concern, one has to be very flexible in implementing the operational strategy. The another major objective or the threat to the organization's flexibility is the cutting edge technology. The technology is always changing day by day, and hence due to the changes in the technology, the quality of the product, the quantitative production, everything changes, and accordingly there is a switch in demand from the consumers. And hence when there is a cutting edge technology that is available, it may hamper the existing production facility and the operational activities that have been undertaken into the market. So here in this case, either it may be implemented with respect to the marketing and operations, and accordingly it may hamper direct entering for a new market. So strategic planning at this particular stage is very crucial and becomes important as to how decisions are to be taken in the organization. And hence managing operational flexibility becomes a priority. Now let's understand what are competitive priorities in terms of managing operational flexibility. The first priority that one has to identify is the cost dependability. With respect to the cost dependability, we have to always ascertain what will be the cost that will be associated for purchasing a certain product, acquiring or achieving a certain product, and so on. With respect to the productivity, achieving the greater utilization along with the processes, technology, labor, material, monetary resources, and so on. So cost factor that have been associated with respect to the productivity always needs to be there in a controlled way, and accordingly there should be a proper mechanism for the effective flow of goods and services. The product quality. Quality plays an utmost or important role wherein if the quality decreases or deteriorates, then accordingly your number of sales also starts decreasing, and hence the customer may switch from your product to the competitor's product, and hence creation of high quality and high performance products is required or it needs to be maintained. And those particular quality standards are at times provided by the various government and regulatory agencies. So whatever guidelines, certain methods that have been provided by the government or the regulatory agencies, that needs to be complied as and when it is been required. The variety is in product. So always there is a certain variety of product and no product is similar to each other. When there is no product similar to each other at this particular stage, what happens? The customer's purchasing decision may switch from one product to another product. And hence, the diversified range of product may create a certain flexibility into the market for shifting of your demand curve from current position to the downward position. The creativity. Always with the implementing or invention of new technology, the product becomes more creative and more of a sophisticated in nature. And hence, for those particular concern, creativity acts as a competitive priority for your product that is into existence. And hence, accordingly, the operational flexibility needs to be implemented. Delivery time. Another major concern is the quick delivery and response to the consumer. So, as a major factor, one has to ascertain and see that whatever is the delivery time for a certain product, that should be occupied at a very lateral stage or an early stage. And whenever there is a quick delivery that is needed to be expected, the product should be delivered on time as and when there is a demand from the consumer. The reliability of delivery. So reliability of delivery with respect to the keeping of delivery timelines or commitments. The commitment that has been given by the organization for the factual time of delivery should be maintained in a very effective way, and accordingly, all those operational activities are needed to be undertaken in a better situation. Flexibility. Now, considering the competitive priority with respect to flexibility, it may occur either related to cost, either to productivity, the product quality, the product variety, the creativity, and the delivery perspectives. So, wherever there is a flexibility that is to be identified or it is being seen, accordingly, all the changes in the organization needs to be implemented, and accordingly, the flexibility in the decision-making process needs to be implemented at an early stage. Now, what do we mean by the product flexibility? The capacity to develop the new item to make changes to current ones. The definition or the concept was been given by Slack in the year 1987. Another concept of product flexibility was given by Sethi and Sethi in the year 1990, wherein it is a simple to add new pieces or submit requests for current ones. So adding the new product to the current existing line is an example of product flexibility. So one has to see that how do we develop the new items, and accordingly the changes to the current items can be implemented. So that's the concept of product flexibility. With respect to the volume flexibility, this particular scenario was been given by Jervin and Squads in the year 1982 and 1995 respectively. It focuses on the concept of increasing the volume of output of a certain production. So sacrificing the current flexibility or the current volume capacity and increasing the flexibility of volume with respect to the quantitative terms is the concept of volume flexibility. Another concept that was been given by Gupta and Somers in the year 1996. It focuses on the manufacturing system's capacity to run economically at various temperatures. May it be related to the output level, the plant modification across the range, and so on. So, as and when the situation changes, there is a demand for a certain product, changes in the market condition, changes in the environmental conditions, the product flexibility with respect to the volume should either increase or should either decrease. The another concept with respect to volume flexibility was given by Parker and With in the year 1999, wherein it focuses on the function to capacity utilization of successfully, efficiently, and financially variations of situations. So, if a situation changes, so accordingly, the volume flexibility needs to be implemented. Another concept of volume flexibility was given by Vickery and Calantro. It focuses on the concept of capacity in response to changes in the consumer demand. So as and when the demand for a certain product changes, so accordingly the production activity should be speed up and the production should be done in a lateral stage or a faster stage. Another concept that is what has been given by Narasimhan and Das reference or a research material with respect to volume flexibility in the year 2000. It focuses on the manufacturing system's capacity to alter the aggregate production volume in terms of finances. So, availability of finances and sufficient availability of finances for manufacturing unit or a manufacturing system capacity needs to be utilized. So, if ample amount of finance is being provided or it is being supplied, then accordingly all the activities can be conducted in a very effective way. The another concept with respect to volume flexibility was given by Zhang and so on in the year 2002, wherein it focuses on the overall organization capacity, wherein the capacity or the production is being taken into several amount of batches. So when the speed of a particular production activity is either increased or decreased, then what is the impact on the volume, that is the quantitative flexibility of the production that is being undertaken. And hence, for this particular concern, the cost-effective and efficient system needs to be implemented, and accordingly, certain changes in the manufacturing process or cycle needs to be implemented. Now let's understand the concept of machine flexibility. The concept of machine flexibility was been coined by Gupta and Somers in the year 1996, wherein they were focusing on the major composition of changes in the technology. So expenditure on the technology either increases or decreases depending on what amount or quantity or quality of goods and services are available. So based on the availability of goods and services, the task that needs to be undertaken either increases or decreases, and accordingly, the significant expenditure of the company also differs. Another perspective that was been given by Braglia and Petroni in 2004 and 2002 was with respect to the machine setting time. So with respect to the setting of machines, the flexibility or the production capacity also differs from product to product, commodity to commodity, assembly line to assembly line. For a single assembly line, the variability may be different. For another assembly line, the variability may be different. And hence, for this particular concern, one has to identify about what is the ability or capability of a machine to produce and how the capacity can be increased in order to see that the production is in a quantitative terms. And lastly, the another concept that was being coined in the research of Jahan et al. In the year 2002 is the ability to perform of an equipment. So the earlier Braglia and Petroni was focusing on the machine, whereas Jahan's perspective focuses on the concept of an equipment, that is how it can be related to an cost and effectively production or manufacturing activity can be undertaken, and how the machine flexibility can be improved. Now let's understand the concept of market flexibility. The concept of market flexibility focuses on the concept of industrial system that has been accepted. So based on the changes in the market, based on the changes in the factors of production, the internal and external environment factors, the market situation or demand for a particular product increases. The market condition always is of a flexible nature, and accordingly, the manufacturing activity or the operational flexibility should always be tried to control in a certain situation which tries to make a balance between the commercial activity and the goods activity. The production system capacity to adopt or influence the market development. So this particular concept was given by Das in the year 2002, and this particular research focuses on the production system capacity. So based on the system of the production or the capacity of the production, the market flexibility needs to be controlled, and accordingly such type of goods and services should be provided in the market. Another concept of flexibility given by Niken and Hall in the year 1991, which focuses on the concepts of the changes in the production volume, the changes in the product mix that is being undertaken, the customization of the product, the introduction of the new products into the market, and adopting of new technology, wherein it focuses on the overall or the holistic approach of all the factors, that is the production, the product mix, the product itself, and lastly the technology. And hence the flexibility approach of Niken and Hall is a comprehensive approach. Another perspective that we have is the mixed flexibility. In this case, in terms of the mixed flexibility, it focuses on all the factors, that is, may it be related to the production, may it be related to the sales, the manufacturing, the inventory, the finance department, the project department, the strategic department, and so on. And hence, the mixed flexibility is combination of all those particular factors in an organization. So when developing a production strategy, the mixed flexibility is always needed to be taken into account. And a successful mixed strategy or a mixed flexibility component will effectively provide the better decision making and operational stability in the organization. So developing a production strategy leads to a proper mixed balanced flexibility in the organization. The expansion of decision-making process always leads to a certain concern about how the decisions can be managed, they can be maintained, and the operational activities can be controlled with respect to the forecasting of demand and supply of commodity or goods that is being manufactured by the manufacturing department. And hence, here we can come to a conclusion that what is the importance of managing the operational flexibility in the organization. The sort of flexibility may be either related to the marketing activity, finance activity, operational activity, and so on. So in order to deal with those particular concerns, there should be a proper flexibility in the operational activities, and those particular activities should be quite acceptable. The proper communication between all the departments and information to all the ventures or the centers should be given so as to see that whatever changes that are needed to be implemented or incorporated should be undertaken into account and the changes can be incorporated. So flexibility at certain times acts as a strategic component of a certain business and it leads to a competitive advantage. The competitive advantage can be created to a certain product which gives a certain rise to increase or balance between the operations activity and the marketing activity. The marketing activity focusing on the concept of demand and the operational activity focusing on the concept of supply. And hence, the balance between or the relationship between operations and marketing is related with the demand and supply perspectives. The demand expectations which is there into the market always needs to be satisfied by the operational activities and hence managing the operational flexibility is essentially important and various sorts of flexibility that can be implemented maybe either related to the operations, maybe related to the mix, maybe related to the product, maybe related to the finances and so on needs to be connected in a better effective way and accordingly marketing strategies or targets or goals are needed to be achieved. Now let's summarize what we have learned in this particular session. In this particular session, we have understood the meaning or the concept of managing the operational flexibility. We have seen how managing operational flexibility is being undertaken in the organization and what are the various types of activities that have been undertaken for managing the operational flexibility activities. I hope you must have enjoyed the session and the learning. We'll stay connected in the next module. Thank you for your patience listening. Thank you.